The executive director of consumersresearch.org is Will Hild, and he is joining us now. Will, I am sorry that I've never heard of your organization before. I know you've been in business now for 100 years. Tell me about what you guys do, and then we have to discuss what you have just done.
Absolutely. Well, Consumers Research is the nation's oldest consumer protection organization. We were founded in 1929. We have a 91-year pedigree in standing up for consumers and being their voice in the marketplace. And that's exactly what this Consumers First initiative you've referenced is all about.
And tell me about the Consumers First initiative.
Well, it's a seven-figure ongoing ad campaign with a very simple message. It is to every member of corporate America, every business in corporate America, stop cozying up to woke politicians, stop cozying up to woke activists to distract from your mistreatment of your customers, and focus on serving them, focus on serving your consumers.
Now, let me play. Could we play one, please? Could we play the Doug Parker, American Airlines commercial? Here it is.
American Airlines, rated the worst, losing the most bags, shrinking legroom during COVID. American requires passengers to show ID to fly, but attacks Texas's popular voter ID law. Why is CEO Doug Parker trying to appease the radical left? To distract from billions in taxpayer bailouts, from his $10 million payday, from Americans' record layoffs. Doug Parker, American Airlines. Serve your customers, not woke politicians.
Wow. Hashtag Doug Parker. Why? Hashtag American Airlines. Why? You seem to be going after the CEOs. Why?
Well, they're just part and parcel of part of the organization that is trying to distract from their failures to serve their customers in order to change the conversation. They don't want to have to talk about being rated last by Wall Street Journal, the worst airline in America. They lose the most bags. They kick the most people off of flights. We were actually able to reach out to them and confirm directly from them that during the period of the COVID pandemic, they continued to decrease legroom on many of their flights. And this is, of course, at a time when they took a multi-billion-dollar taxpayer-funded bailout. And that didn't stop CEO Doug Parker from giving himself an 8-figure paycheck last year. And I'll just lastly add, they laid off 19,000 workers, I believe, during that period. So they want to talk about anything they can other than those facts. Doug Parker certainly doesn't want questions raised about why taxpayers are subsidizing his performance-based paycheck or taking American Airlines and making it dead last in America.
You may be my favorite executive director I've ever met. What is your background, Will?
Well, I come from a long litany. I was a Georgetown grad, but I'm not the story here, Glenn. We want to focus on the consumer here and defending their rights.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
I don't care. I honestly don't care if.
Let me just say, I appreciate you almost got me going there. I would love to go through my CV, but anyone who's interested in that, my bio is on consumersresearch.org,
Okay.
and I would like them going there anyway, so they can see these ads and find out more about these companies. So I'm certainly not trying to deflect, but if anyone wants to read my bio, it's on the website there.
Right.
We're very open about that.
I really don't care if you're a spawn of Satan at this point. I love what you guys are doing. I love
when we launched on Squawk Box on Tuesday, that came up. So there might be people accusing me of that.
Oh wow! Have you guys received any of our audience going to the website and downloading?
The response has just been overwhelming.
Yes.
Their YouTube views are through the roof. The Nike ad in particular has got, I think, over 100,000 views. And it's just to see that, but also to see, I think it's got thousands of likes, and maybe one of them hasn't even reached a dozen dislikes yet. So I think this has really struck a nerve with consumers, regardless of their position on the political spectrum. No one likes to be mistreated. And that's what's happening here. It doesn't, right or left, American Airlines is kicking the most people off of their airline. They are losing the most bags. I don't think anybody likes that.
I will tell you, there's really very few choices coming into Dallas. I mean, you can find a lot of different choices, but if you You just need the next flight. This is the American Airlines hub. And I was flying them last weekend. They suck. They suck. I mean, it is. It was, the attitude that they have now of you touch your mask and you may not be able to fly with us for the rest of, your days. It was so militant. It was shocking. I haven't flown American in a while, and it was really shocking to see that. And, the other ads that you're doing, the Coca-Cola ad and the Nike ad, I think the thing that really strikes a chord, I hope, with a lot of people, I know it does with me and the rest of the people on the crew, is their willingness to work in the same area where they are scooping up the Uyghurs and possibly using Uyghur slave labor to make their products. It's shameless.
Absolutely, and that's really what Nike's trying to distract from. They can't and won't certify with 100% certainty that their shoes aren't made in China without forced labor. There's growing evidence that they are. There was a congressional report on the issue, and when Congress went to act on it to pass a bill that would have banned any product coming from China made with forced labor from entering the U.S. market, Nike spent time, money, and attention lobbying Congress to amend the bill so that their products would not be affected. So they don't want to bring that up. And Coca-Cola's got a very similar problem. No less than Nancy Pelosi, House Speaker, has come out attacking the Olympics for being in Beijing, given their humanitarian abuses and, like you said, the use of forced labor there. Guess who one of the top corporate sponsors of the Beijing Olympics is? Coca-Cola. So they don't, and again, they don't want to talk about that. So they would rather take positions on political issues and legislation that they know nothing about. That's not their expertise, because anything's better than having to talk about these issues.
Do you guys take donations? Are you a 501c3?
We're an independent 501c3 organization. That's absolutely right. We protect all of our supporters' right to privacy, but I can tell you that every single one of our supporters is an American consumer, just like you and your viewers.
And so people could donate going to consumersresearch.org. You can donate there.
We're working on it.
Okay, you should work faster. Let me ask you, you are targeting, for instance, with Coca-Cola, you're targeting the television and cable mainly in the local areas of where the CEO lives, right?
Well, somewhat. We're going live with national stations such as Fox Business and CNBC. And then, of course, we're live in the states in which these companies are headquartered, Georgia, Oregon, and Texas. And then we have web ads going up geographically located in those areas. And then lastly, we have display ads, billboards going up near their headquarters. And then display ads, next time you're taking a cramped, uncomfortable flight with American and, pray that they don't lose your bag, keep an eye out in the airport, in terminal. You may see one of our display ads right next to the American Airlines logo.
So this is something Bill O'Reilly taught me. He said, Glenn, if you ever want to push back, you don't push back at the writer at the New York Times. You go to the CEO level and you go after, because those guys, they attend their cocktail parties and they don't want their face and their name bandied about. So people are saying, geez, I don't know, Doug Parker, I mean, you hear he took $10 million while he laid off 19,000 employees. They don't like that at all.
Well, they love the positive press they got when they cozied up to woke politicians and woke activists. So we're not the one that made this personal. They are. They wanted to distract from their own failings, their own subsidization of their 8-figure paycheck by the American taxpayer in the case of Doug Parker. And so we're here to tell them, we have a simple message. If you're a corporation that's considering trying to distract from your own failings, the mistreatment of your customers by cozying up to woke politicians or taking positions on legislation you know nothing about, this is an ongoing campaign. We're not going to let you get away with it. We're going to name and shame you.
And you've done 3 corporations. Any other corporations that you're considering?
Well, as I said, this is phase 1 of an ongoing campaign. Phase 2, we'd be happy to come back and talk about that when we're ready to launch.
Okay.
What would the best way for one of these CEOs to avoid being the subject of one of your ads? What would be the best practice for them to do to make sure that they're not the subject?
Exactly, Clem. That's a great question, and it's a very simple thing. Just focus on your customers. Focus on making quality, healthy products free from the taint of the potential forced labor being in your production chain. And if you do that and you stop taking positions on legislation you know nothing about that's not germane to your business, then you have nothing to worry about from the Consumer First Initiative, because we're out here defending the consumer. And if you're focused on serving them, you're not a problem. But if you're trying to distract from your mistreatment of your customers, then you need to worry about us.
So in other words, you'd be safe if you ran a company that didn't do any slave labor anywhere in the world. You didn't take a position on legislation, and you made healthy products. But you were still running woke seminars they were teaching, that white people are bad. Would you still be safe?
Well, I think that's a reference to Coca-Cola, and as you probably know, they some part of their staff communications included a line called told their staff to be less white, which is of course a disgusting and bigoted message. We don't do labor issues. We're a consumer protection organization, but I will say in that context, it does raise questions about the quality control at a food company. That their quality control for communications to staff would allow something so disgusting and racist as that message to sneak through.
Will, you're my favorite person of the day, and wear that either as a badge of shame or a badge of honor. But I love what you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.